Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day to you on this October 15th, 2025. I got all your stories for your rush hour ride to work. But on the top of this episode, on the 15th of October, every year I have to wish my beautiful wife a happy wedding anniversary. That's right. Time flies when you're having fun. Last year, my wife and myself both forgot, like completely forgot. But we had a baby, a 5-month-old. And when you're changing diapers, who's really planning Italian food? I know I messed up on that one, but I'm here and I didn't forget this year, honey. So happy anniversary, Tasha. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be discussing the missing audio from the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case. That always, whenever you talk about anything missing, you need to get the X-Files music. We weren't prepared, but I do it all over here. There it is, the missing audio. Where could it have gone? There might be some very reasonable reasons why the audio is not in a court filing, but one of you crazy mommy sleuths out there went down to the courthouse to find the actual evidence. What was said by Steve Sarowitz that is so bad that Blake Lively hasn't made public? I mean, I think everybody wants to know. I'll get into that conversation. Then we have the camera footage of Alec Baldwin's car crash we'll show. And then the lady who died, whose death was ruled a suicide, we've now got death expert examiners saying, oh, this is so wrong, and I'm going to share their thoughts. And then at the very end of this episode, we'll talk about this young Republican, I guess there was a Republican group chat that was leaked with like hundreds of pages of insane messages, like super racist stuff. And again, I'm not saying that they speak for everybody, but some of them are in leadership positions and they've had to apologize. It's a real messy story, trust me. So we'll get into that. And then I guess we blew up another Venezuelan ship. So it looks like we're just trying to get them to start a war with us so that we can get their oil. I kind of think that's what's happening. So I'm no genius, not a Nostradamus over here, but sounds like that's what's going on. So we'll get into all these stories and more. It starts right now on The Rush. Let's dive right into the Baldoni stuff. Why not? Let's go right here. And title is Breaking News. There is no audio recording on file. And, there might be a reasonable reason for this. A lot of these courts use very antiquated technology where you can't just upload media files. Is that the case? Or did Blake Lively not include the actual audio because they knew this audio was a whole bunch of nothing? Now, if you aren't familiar with the audio we're talking about, Steve Sarowitz, billionaire investor, co-founder of Wayfarer Studios with Justin Baldoni, he had a meeting with Claire Ayub. Claire Ayub directed another one of the Wayfarer projects. Claire had said, hey, can I not have Baldoni do any PR with me? Because he's kind of in a weird place. This was when the whole cast was unfollowing him and whatnot. Nobody knew why. In hindsight, we found out really for no reason, as far as there's no evidence out there. They just, I guess, all colluded to hitch themselves to the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds bandwagon. That might be all it was, right? Hey, that's Hollywood for you, baby. Everyone's trying to get their own. But again, you see how you really just get to see how desperate the world can be out there. But so she recorded this audio file with Steve Sarowitz to make sure there was going to be no funny business. And then somehow Blake Lively got a hold of it. Now, everyone's saying, well, Claire must have approached Blake Lively to give her this information. So what could Steve have said that was so bad that she would have felt the need to snitch on her bosses and give it to Claire and give it to Blake? And I think everybody wants to hear, right? I think we're all curious what was said. Well, this person went all the way to the courthouse. There is no file yet. Have a listen.
There is no audio file. Nothing. Clark went down to the SDNY and he went in and worked with the very, very nice people that were working in the records department. And he worked alongside these clerks. They even brought him a file folder. Clark, man, props to you because he did it. He went down there. He tried sleuthing. He tried to get that recording for all of us. And what he found is that there's not even a transcript. Nothing. Yeah, and a transcript would be nice to start, but you guys know tone's important. So if Steve Sarowitz was talking to Claire, super harmless, he practices the Baha'i faith. He's a Jewish man. He says he practices his Jewish faith, and he also practices the Baha'i faith, which it really the one of the main tenets of the Baha'i faith is you don't really talk trash about people. So my guess is whatever he said might sound bad in selective quotes, but the overall context is a nothing burger. That's my guess. And listen, I've worked on plenty of movie sets, from Weinstein Company products to
directors that are coked out of their mind yelling at you like crazy. It's wild stuff out there. I don't think we're going to get any of that. That Alec Baldwin tirade when he called his daughter a pig, right? Or was that Alec Baldwin? You don't even know at this point. There's the Mel Gibsons. There's the most megalomaniac, coked up, crazy egos in the world. They all go to Hollywood to make it, right? I don't think we're going to see that here. I think if there was audio that was really bad, it would have found its way to the media from Blake's side. There's only two people that have the audio, Claire and Blake. And you're mean to tell me, with all of the news stories that were planted out there, with all of the selective text and the kind of, he bit my lip on a slow dance scene and all of the different random things they said, if there was some real juicy stuff that was attacking Blake, you mean to tell me that wouldn't have fallen off the truck and made its way out there? So I don't buy it. I think it's a nothing burger. And folks are wondering, why did it say Exhibit 1 audio recording filed under seal? And again, I don't know the specifics. Every court, jurisdiction kind of works differently, but I think a lot of people have said it's probable that they weren't able to upload the file into the docket, but it does exist somewhere in the records, although maybe it was uploaded and it's not there yet. I'm not sure. But I'm here to say, damn it, if we don't get a copy of this audio, somebody slide it into my DMs. Here's an interesting comment that we got. The person, the OP, the original poster, did more investigative reporting than Megan Twohey in one afternoon. If there was a Pulitzer Prize for online sleuthing, you got my vote. And this is why I come here to look into this case. Bravo. So appreciate the time you took to find out the truth. Her entire case is built on thin air. And again, this is the type of stuff that might work in the PR world, like a selective headline, right? There was this headline from Claire that Justin Baldoni was verbally abusive. Okay, that to me, like if anyone ever accused me of being verbally abusive, I'd be like, what, can we get a transcript of what you're talking about? Because those are heavy claims to make, and most people are reasonable and they'll realize Baldoni as a producer, it might have been brief in his conversations with the director. Could be. I mean, there's so many conversations that a director and a producer can have where you get heated, right? You're talking about how many hours a day can you film? What locations can you film at? Are you filming on film or digital? How much money do you have for post-production, marketing? If you want to change a line, you have to get the writer's approval. There's so much that goes into filmmaking from the top down, and creative visions get, obviously we saw with Blake and Justin, there's moments where you have to really deal with multiple creative ideas, and somebody has to be the one who's in charge. So if that's verbally abusive, then I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. But I don't think Claire's claims of him being verbally abusive will make it into the court at all. So she just gets to fart on the elevator and then walk off. That's really what it is. And I think in society where we are now, with kind of everyone kind of ramped up to the nines, I think we deserve to be impeccable with our word. If you're going to call someone out, put your name on it, say what they did, call them out. Otherwise, don't. In this audio filing, just floating around. But again, as some people have said, it's there, it exists. It's just a matter of getting it, through whatever systems. You can't have evidence that the other side doesn't get a chance to respond to. So when this thing goes to trial, it ain't looking good for Blake. It's just not. I've said this before. We've patiently waited to see if any evidence comes in. Time's a ticking on the evidence, and we really don't have much. We have nothing from her makeup artist. We have nothing from her security detail. What about all those, all those conversations about her driver overheard all these things being said? That's a nothing burger. Where is it? So, again, we don't have much. Well, here's Alec Baldwin. Speaking of not having much, here's the video as you guys look at this. If you're listening on audio, there's a video of Alex, I don't know what is it, a Range Rover, kind of skidding off the road and hitting a tree. Now, he said he had to avoid this dump truck that was sideswiping him. But as you can see right here, it's a single lane road. There's only one lane. So how could, and again, so he kind of avoids hitting the dump truck. The dump truck pulls over probably to pick up, dump. And I don't know. I mean, it's a wet day on the street. My guess is the speed limit's 40 miles an hour. He's in a sports utility vehicle. You should be able to stop in one of those. Maybe the roads were slick, but either way, very bizarre. But hey, it's just a simple crash. He's got insurance, right? Not the end of the world. All right. Well, here, let's get to, let's do this. Let's reset the deck. We're going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to discuss this Ellen Greenberg death case. We have an expert challenging the suicide ruling. She, I guess they're claiming she stabbed herself in the back. I don't know what, and then people are saying, no, that literally couldn't have happened. So let's take a quick break for our ads, pay some bills. We'll come back with this story next. Fall is here, and with it comes the back-to-school rush. Early morning drop-offs, after-school activities, football games, and those last-minute supply runs. Let's not forget the extra trips for groceries, coffee, and gas as the days get busier. All of that adds up, and it adds up fast. Well, we got you covered with the free Upside app. It's an easy way to earn real cash back every time you fill up your tank. Grab a bite to eat or stock up on essentials. Whether you're driving across town for a soccer game or picking up snacks for the school lunchbox, Upside helps you keep more money in your pocket. In fact, Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. Yeah, billion with a B. That's real cash back. No confusing rewards, points, or credits. Actual money you can transfer straight to your bank account, with $1 million cash back is earned by its users every single week. So that's right. They're not only given $1 billion cash back, but you can find out how much you could earn by downloading the free Upside app and use promo code RUSHHOUR to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code RUSHHOUR. Ellen Greenberg death case. An expert is challenging the suicide ruling. Stabbing herself in the back 20 times is implausible. Here is a conversation that this expert had, Joseph Scott Morgan, with TMZ. Have a listen.
You could have knocked me over with a feather, as they say, because we've all been anxiously awaiting, this ruling coming out. We thought that, that science would prevail. And this fell to the current medical examiner to make this determination, and she doubled down on it and concluded that this is in fact a suicide.
The question that I have is it that the current medical examiner didn't want to overturn the initial medical examiner because there wasn't enough evidence to overturn? I'm thinking of this like it's like an NFL football play where it's like goes to review, where you need like more evidence to change the decision. I don't know if that's the case, but I mean, for people to say, hey, we literally just thought evidence would prevail. I'm not going to share the 911 call from her fiance, but he sounded distraught, but in most cases they do. And in most cases, if there's a death or a homicide, it's probably the boyfriend in most cases. I hate to say this, but they always say the most dangerous person is usually like a boyfriend or a father or someone close to you that commits most of those crimes. It's not usually just some random axe-wielding person, although that does happen. But in this case, he was never even considered a suspect, and the family just wanted justice. And it looks like the case is closed now. And I was told that there was a good Hulu documentary about this, but this is the first I've learned of this case.
I think many of us are shocked, surprised over this because none of us really saw this coming. I mean, I don't guess we should be surprised, right? Because, you missed one manner of death there. There's 5. You've got suicide, accidental, you got homicide, you got undetermined, you got natural. They also visited undetermined in this case for a bit. And guys, I got to tell you, I worked for the coroner in New Orleans. I worked for the ME in Atlanta as a senior investigator. Fellas, I have never, in the totality of my career as an academic and also as a practitioner in the field, I've never seen somebody jump to 3 of the different manners. We've only got 5 to choose from. So over the course of all these years, they vacillated between all 3 of these at one point in time or another.
It's interesting to see experts talk about this because, to just assume to land on suicide when you don't know for sure, that's really tough because it's tough on the family, especially if they say, hey, look, she was never even, had never had any thoughts or any of these, where that might have been the case. And in the way in which it would have, none of it makes sense, but that's where the story is. This has kind of been a sort of cultural true crime story that is back in the limelight as, I guess people were hoping for a different outcome. All right. This is a very, this is going to be a tough story to cover because there's so many terrible words used. But I'm going to share an apology from the board of directors at the Young Republican National Federation. This text message chain that was leaked became a massive story overnight. And it's pretty wild. And this is actually a clip that Perez Hilton had shared because, he's been speaking out against how ridiculous this is. We have this issue with leadership. Like, look, if there's some random people out there that are racist or they say bad words, it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, there's bad people out there, right? But when it's leadership, when it's people that are supposed to be setting the tone for the discourse in our country, that's where it's bad because the fish rots from the head. This idea that some people in leadership can be so irresponsible that it really divides us on issues that we shouldn't be divided on. I'm a stand-up comedian. I go on stage and talk to audiences. I had a show 2 nights ago in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is a pretty Republican area. And I talk about universal health care on stage. I joke about different things. And I'm here to tell you, being sort of a progressive guy that lives in a red state who's performed comedy all over the country, I'm here to tell you, like 95% of the stuff like going on out there, we can all agree on. We can all agree that houses are too expensive, grocery prices are too expensive. We shouldn't be putting money into elections, especially from out of country private groups. There's so much that we all agree on. Healthcare is way overpriced. We agree on a lot of these issues, and yet there's people in position of power that are trying to divide us on like gender ideology, woke issues, culture war battles. And I'm just not having it. I say this, we need to have economic conversations about how we can all thrive. I mean, my podcast, The Rush Hour, is about getting you to work. We are here to get you to work. You're trying your best. You've probably got a second job. Maybe there's a third job you don't get paid for and you have a passion that you want to live and you're trying to just figure it all out. I've been there. That's where we are. This podcast is about the hustle. It's about keeping us informed about not just pop culture and politics, but just what culture is doing. That's what we love so much to talk about. And culture right now is in such a dark place. Here is what the board of directors had to say. We are appalled by the vile and inexcusable language revealed in the Political article published today. Such behavior is disgraceful, unbecoming of any Republican, and stands in direct opposition to the values our movement represents. Those involved must immediately resign from all positions within their state and local Young Republican organizations. We must hold ourselves to the highest standards of integrity, respect, and professionalism. And I mean, some of the leaked messages in this Political article are, it's N-word, it's super anti-Semitic stuff. They talked about the R word, R-wording their enemies, driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed supported slavery. Who knows if these messages were meant to be funny or not? It doesn't matter. These are people in positions of power, and I hope that enough Republicans out there realize that this is not who you would want representing you. I would hope. The 2,900 pages of chats shared among a dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early January and mid-August chronicle their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members already work inside government or party politics, and one serves as a state senator. So wild stuff out there. We'll have to see if they do resign. I mean, this is the type of stuff that'll haunt you forever. I mean, I asked this question, but like, how can you win an election with these types of skeletons, not even in your closet, but out in the living room? And yet some people do. And again, like I said, the fish rots from the head. I want to go back to a society where our president and our leaders can discuss their issues in a civil way. Because if they don't do it, how the hell are we supposed to? So those are my thoughts on that. Now we've got the governor of New York. She's been crushing it. Here's what she had to say about the tone that's being set in this Politico article and the sort of gravity, how heavy it is to read some of these messages.
Politico reported on a group chat of a bunch of young Republicans. I'm wondering your thoughts on that, and does this reflect, is it just some bad young apples in this chat, or do you think that there's a toxicity around the entire party?
Some bad apples? these are the future of the Republican Party. This was so vile. It is hard to find the words to put into context that these are people who are part of a political party, one of two major political parties, and they believe in gas chambers and rape and discrimination based on the color of people's skins. These are racist, sexist, disgusting remarks. And I would say this. We have a leader from the Republican Party in this state, the highest ranking individual, who in the backdrop of all this calls our candidate for mayor, one of our candidates for mayor, a jihadist and a terrorist, and then somehow says, oh, what they said, these young Republicans, was wrong. Like, look at what you say yourself. Look at your inflammatory words.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down, like, when you ever meet a kid who's an asshole, he probably has asshole parents. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So, listen, for my Republican fans out there, if you don't like it, be change. You know, I always say this about my Republican friends. It's like, where's that small government you guys talked about? Where's the states' rights? Where's the all those things? Instead, we've got the federalizing of troops being sent and sort of authoritarian power and all of that. And it's like, where's that? Where's the First Amendment loving, protect speech, even if we disagree with it type of stuff? Hey, here's Governor Newsom calling out Joe Rogan. Says Joe Rogan is a snack-sized podcaster who can't stop talking about me. Obsessed crush? No, thank you. But is too scared to have me on and let his audience hear the truth. Just like Dozy Don, he often chickens out. I've never had any problem with the guy, in which the mini hosts the best in life. I'll come on and will help save the show and his plummeting ratings. Gavin Newsom. Now, you might say, well, he's also part of the problem, Gavin Newsom, because he's talking this way, but it's really satire, right? He's just using words that Trump's used to show people how ridiculous it is. So if anyone doesn't like this, I actually think the satire nature is good, because you're saying, look, this is so ridiculous that what we've been fed for years now by our president. But again, I guess, and some people will say, well, in the past, some people have said, well, we're okay with his tone as long as, inflation goes down and this goes down. But so far in this presidency, what's gone down? What's gone down? I mean, you can't sell a soybean. We're giving money to other countries. We're accepting bribes so that we can train Qatari, pilots in Idaho. Like where's the price of milk? So here we have, Trump, they just killed another boat in Venezuela. Trump is picking off alleged Venezuelan drug traffickers one by one, with 6 of the purported narcos getting blown to pieces today on dramatic video. 47 announced Tuesday on Truth Social as Secretary of War ordered this morning's lethal strike against the 6 narcotics dealers. And again, no due process, no sending Coast Guard to go to the boats to seize whatever drugs they have on them. We just have to believe that these people they're blowing up were, and by the way, seizing drugs, that's not, the death penalty, doesn't cover that, right? So these are international crimes we're committing, all in the hopes, my belief is that Venezuela fights back and then we declare war on them and then we get their oil. I think that's the game plan. I don't know what else it could be. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got more to talk about. So stick around. We'll be back right after this. Today's episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. That's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. So ditch those overpriced wireless plans. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/TRH. That's mintmobile.com/TRH. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Well, Trump's negotiation tactic is to provide a lot of pain to Democrats so that they will acquiesce and get the government started back again. In doing so, he is revealing that there's a list of Democratic programs they're going to close. My question, though, is will this also be hurting Republicans? Because I don't believe Democratic programs are programs that just benefit Democrats. If they benefit Americans, then this is going to burn Republicans as well. Have a listen.
So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let them come back. The Democrats are getting killed.
This is like when your parents beat you and they say, this hurts me more than it hurts you, as they just get that belt and wind up to slap you with it. And you're like, no, I'm pretty sure this hurts me a little bit too. So Trump's negotiating tactic here with Americans is keep on laying people off. They've wiped out the special education program. I mean, this is insane. And I guess this is them trying to draw a hard line. And what do the Democrats want in return to get the government open again? They just want to promise that people's healthcare premiums aren't going to go up. They just want to promise that people can afford their healthcare. This is a losing issue for Trump here.
And we're going to have a list of them on Friday. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it. But so we are closing up Democrat programs.
All right, there it is. No more whatever program. I mean, we'll have to see what those are. Boy, it's not looking good in the polling. You know, the Affordable Care Act, of course, didn't have a high rating when it came out because it took people off maybe certain healthcare that they had, and it was a lot of shuffling around. But now, as people look into how much their healthcare is about to cost, it's actually polling pretty high.
Things I don't think is necessarily appreciated here is just how much of a comeback story we're talking about in terms of opinions of the Affordable Care Act. I mean, the net favorable rating, back when most of the provisions went into effect back in 2014, look at that. The Affordable Care Act is way underwater at minus 10 points. By the time of the first Trump term, you got it plus 6 points. Look at where we are now, plus 30 points.
And of course, the Affordable Care Act, I mean, this is going to help more Republican states than Democrat. But I don't even like to think that way. But when Trump is thinking that way, you have to go, listen, I think our Republican friends are smart enough to know their health insurance might go up by a lot, like $8,000 or $10,000 a year. Who's got an extra? And it's already expensive. And so there, in this sort of play that the Republicans have said, oh, this is just the Democrats wanting to provide free healthcare. Nobody's buying that. I don't think many people are buying that. And I think the polls show that this is a loser for Trump. How are they going to get out of this? Or is he okay continuing to let the government shut down? So here we have Trump actually lashing out at ABC, saying he won't take any more questions for them after they responded. So basically what happened is Stephanopoulos interviewed J.D. Vance and asked him a clear question, like, did Tom Homan, the border czar, did he take a $50,000 bribe or not? And J.D. Vance's answer was, I can't believe this is the type of question you're asking when there's so much else we could be asking about. And then, like a good journalist, Stephanopoulos responded, so do you not want to give me an answer as to whether or not there's a video of this happening? And it's wild to watch this go down. And finally, Stephanopoulos just ended the interview. He's like, I'm done letting you talk. And now Trump's done letting ABC ask questions.
Your ABC fake news.
Mr. President,
First of all, congratulations. I don't take questions from ABC fake news after what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States. I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So he goes, Brian, go ahead. And Brian goes, yes, sir. Oh, my gosh. Don't you ever wonder when there'll be a reporter who's just like, hey, President, go fuck yourself. I'm out. And then they just quit. Will somebody do that? So, and you hate to do the whataboutism. You hate, because we live in a different world than we lived 10 years ago. We just do. But imagine if Obama sent National Guard troops to a Republican state. Just imagine. And that's exactly what Obama is doing as he talks to Mark Maron.
If I had sent in the National Guard into Texas and just said, you know what, a lot of problems in Dallas. A lot of crime there. And I don't care what Governor Abbott says. I'm going to kind of take over law enforcement because I think things are out of control. It is mind-boggling to me how Fox News would have responded.
Yeah. I mean, imagine, Texas would have been like, oh, we're the Lone Star State. Nobody tells us what to do. States' rights. But then old Donnie, billionaire from Queens, New York, does it. And they're like, yes, sir, Mr. President. Anything you need, sir. Can we send our troops to Chicago to help out? Oh, fuck off with that bullshit. It's crazy. But that's the world we live in. So all of those people that were always so pro First Amendment, that were so pro due process, are frauds. They're frauds. They didn't stand on business. It only worked for them when it was convenient to them. And this isn't me calling out, one political party versus the other. It's about moving forward. Who's on the side of helping out Americans? Who's on the side of helping out the middle class? That's who I'm going to vote for. Let's get the people out of the Democratic Party that decided to take money and not do what's right and profit off of their position, whatever. And let's do the same in the Republican. You want to drain the swamp? Let's party. Let's go. We just haven't seen that happen yet. The swamp is full of crypto coin and Qatari jets. All right, that's it for me. We'll be back this afternoon here twice a day, every day. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.